It's not natural to me. It's not part of my culture. So hello and welcome to the vlog, and let's jump straight into it and explain 7/8. What is that all about? We're talking about the time signature 7/8. So it's still not any clearer as to what we're actually talking about here. Let's try and explain it. Probably the most common time signature in Western music is 4/4, which means we have in every bar 4 beats. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Hopefully actually in time with ourselves. We could double that, and instead of counting what in English we call crotchets or quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, we could count eighth notes or quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we get 8 beats. Now imagine we lose one of those beats and then we've got 7. That's what 7/8 is. So we're not actually going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in our bar. We're going to count in groups of 3 and 2. So we're probably going to count something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that gives us where the accents are. So you might be sitting there going, why on earth are we kicking off with a music theory lesson at the beginning of the vlog? The reason is, this is part of our story, my story. And today I'm in the studio because Budo is going to arrive in about 5 minutes. We're going to be recording some drums, and we're going to be recording in 7/8. Songs in 7/8 are something that is part of the culture here in the Balkans, the musical culture, in the folk music and in what people feel inside them. And for an English person, at least this English person, that's not the case. Anyway, before we go any further with all this, I've got a couple of mics I've got to get up on the drum kit before Budo arrives. Need to check the overhead mics are equally spaced over the snare drum. That's an important part of recording drums. This right here is the click that it's going to be using today. And if you can hear that, there's accents in it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. In the past couple of weeks, we've talked about the song Rijeka Usra Požara, and the song that we wrote at camp. And on the recording of that, Artso is singing. He's the male voice on it. He was one of the main people behind kind of putting the song together. And he's got some other songs that he's written. And the song we're recording drums for this morning is one of his songs. He came down a couple of months ago, and we got sort of the guide track together for it. And this is the first opportunity we've had to really get drums down on it. So that's what we're doing. We've done all our mic checks, we've done the headphone check. Now time to get recording. So Budo's been and done his drum recording for today. That's it for recording. I'm just going to get a rough mix together on what the drums sound like against the guide track and send it off to Artso so he can have a listen and see what we've done so far, see if he likes it. Why are we talking about 7/8 today? So there's a point, and it applies to me here in the studio and the work that I do recording songs and bands here. It applies to Rowan and the work she does with Limina Glasby, right? So that the brass band here in town, or the singing she does with the choir and the Croatian Cultural Society. And that is, both of us are involved in doing music that is outside of the music that we grew up playing. So you've probably seen those sort of posts that pop up on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are on social media, which talk about, be yourself, be the true you, be authentic to who you are. And I'm sure there's a way in which that is good advice. But what I want to talk about in this vlog is why sometimes that isn't the whole picture. For me, if I was being authentic and true to myself, I would not touch 7/8 because it's not who I am. It's not natural to me. It's not part of my culture that I grew up and the music I grew up playing. If I did that, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing here. So I've had to learn, I've had to change, I've had to allow who I am to be different. 7/8 is just an example of that. There's lots of things we've had to adjust to be people who are comfortable living here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What I want to say in this vlog is that's not a bad thing. Is it inauthentic of me to write songs in 7/8? No, it's me trying to adapt. It's me trying to be part of where I am. We live and work, Ron and I, in a context now in music where there's so many other influences that are not our foundational influences, that are a big part of the music in the popular culture. And so for us to be useful here, for us to be able to help people, we need to absorb those influences. I'm sure a bunch of you will know that a few years ago we released an album called Budo, which was 10 songs inspired by the Psalms. And that has a kind of local Balkan kind of flavour to the music. And when I had the idea for the project, I went to Budo and I said, hey, I've got this idea, what do you think? And he looked at me straight and he said, bring me a song in 7/8 and we'll think about it. And so I went home that day, and I won't go into the process of how I did it, but I came up with an idea in 7/8. I went back to him the next day and I played him this little demo clip. And I said, what about that? And he went, okay, yeah, we can work on that. And that became the song Bože radosti moja, and that started that project. And we've been really happy to see how that project's been received. We've been really happy to see how people really appreciate music that's trying to feel rooted in the culture here. That comes out of me being prepared to try and do something that's outside my comfort zone. Me not being my authentic self, but me being my adaptive self to my new environment and to the new place that I'm working. So I hope this vlog is helpful. I wanted to give you a little bit of perspective. I know you've seen us doing drum recording here before, but to talk about some of those challenges, cross-cultural challenges, and maybe if you're someone who's believed really strongly that you need to be your authentic self, maybe this is a challenge to think that maybe there's an adaptive self that's also useful in some context. So thanks very much for watching. Do give us a big thumbs up for 7/8. Do leave a comment or question if you want to know more, and do remember that together we do adventure. We'll see you next time.